Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Lung. With me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and anime expert, Jacob Gloth. Today, we're here
Charles
to pitch... I am the anime expert, but I've never owned a body pillow, nor have I ever draped my anime comforter over my bed. I sleep with my anime comforter underneath my bed. Keeps away the bad spirits. But you know what we don't want to keep away? Brand new, fresh, tasty, hot, and sexy ideas for televisual series. And that's what Jake's got for us today. Brand new idea.
I hope so.
Sexy. Slick. Full of, I don't know, probably crime. Is there crime in this series?
In this one?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess, but there's not really any police to, handle the crime. People commit things that I guess are crimes, but they're not held responsible for them.
Yeah, it's like The Purge. Are you pitching
The
Purge?
No, it's not like that. It's just they don't get caught,
Oh, okay. Well, tell us about your series.
Police aren't a part of the story.
Good.
Well, Charles, I saw this movie the other day.
Oh, what film was that?
Called Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, Don't Worry, Darling. A film that has come out.
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone in the audience has seen it, so I'm going to be vague, and I know you haven't seen it.
I haven't. I'm allergic to anything that has Chris Pine in it.
It's not good. It's not a good movie.
Is it not?
It's pretty all right for the first two acts, and the third act, their explanation for why things are all weird in this town is terrible. It does not explain half the things.
I'm going to take a guess at what the explanation is, and you don't have to tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I would like you to tell me if I'm at least in the ballpark. All right?
Okay.
So my guess is that this whole town it's set, the movie makes it look like it's the 50s, but it's actually set in modern day. And they're taking all of these women and they're brainwashing them and turning them into wives that they're then selling to really powerful government leaders or corporate moguls and stuff. That's my guess.
That'd be better. It'd be so much better.
Okay, good. I'm glad I have a better idea than Olivia
I'm telling
Wilde.
you, this explanation for this, I mean, obviously it's messed up. That's the idea of the thing. Whatever it's going to be, the explanation's going to be messed up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't explain. It doesn't explain so much. So much to just be yeah, that's just part of it.
That's just how it is. Chris Pine's there. He's got long hair. It's cool, though. So, what did this bad movie inspire you to make?
Well, actually, I wrote two pitches because of it.
Oh.
And I'm going to give you one, obviously, because I only get to give you one.
Only one a week.
This movie was so bad that I was I liked the idea of someone, where one person knows in a town. No one else does. And there's some sort of mystery they have to unravel.
Okay.
So this is called The Liberty Project.
The Liberty Project. I like that title.
All right.
We can have
We open with our main character, Howard, or Howie Jones.
Howie Jones.
He's a modest, quiet man who keeps to himself. Lives in Liberty. It's a small, rural American town. Very 50s style. We're going to be vague with the time period, but it's 50s-ish.
Okay.
It's very
no
isolated.
Cell phones.
No cell phones, exactly.
Only payphones.
Very isolated town.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's payphones, but it doesn't really matter too much. So a very small, isolated town, and most everyone works at the weapons manufacturer, Clockwork Industries.
Ooh.
So it's the 50s, arsenal democracy, stuff like that. They're making guns, giving it to.
Yeah, they have all that
fighting
infrastructure from the 40s, from World War II. They have all this infrastructure for building weapons. They don't know what else to do, so they just gotta keep building weapons.
Yeah, they gotta have weapons for
defense
wars to come and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, for Vietnam.
So, Howie wakes up to a blaring alarm. He's got one of those song alarms, and it's playing "Ballad of a Thin Man" by Bob Dylan. Great song.
My favorite Bob Dylan song of all time.
Really?
I don't know if you knew that, but it is. It's my favorite Bob Dylan song.
Anyway, Howie smashes the alarm, his wife is next to him in bed, and she's like, the alarms, because, you know, he's getting up at 6:30, and she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
It's Monday, October 1st, 1955. He gets up quietly, makes breakfast in a dark home, drinks yesterday's coffee.
Oh, he's drinking yesterday's coffee and then making a new pot for his wife.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you could do that. I was just thinking because, you know, he's a sad guy. Won't have him drink yesterday's coffee.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He could do that.
Yeah.
Make it even more sad.
Sad man. On
his way out to go to work, he greets his handsome neighbor. His name's Chip. And he's like, "Hey, Chip, could you fix the electricity in the garage? It gives you a bit of a shock, and you know, I've been living in the dark because of it. Whenever I go to my car." And he's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, Howie."
Of course, Howie. I'll help you out. I'm Chip. Famous, sexy, handsome man who's good with tools, and you're weaselly, cowardly Howie, who's good with making coffee. That sort of
He's
thing.
like, thanks for fixing the sink as well. And Chip's like, it was my pleasure. And so Howie goes to work, driving, kind of blank stare forward, gets in an accident. Gets screamed at by the driver, who clearly hit him. So Howie got rear-ended, which obviously means the driver behind him is at fault.
Yeah.
But
the driver behind him is like, "You're an idiot. Why'd you
screaming
slow down?"
at him. And so Howie's so much of a timid man that he pays him.
Oh.
To for the damage, and then they leave. You know, so Howie's got a damaged car now, with no money to pay for it.
Yeah, he's out like $200 and he's got a damaged car.
Gets to work. His boss Damien immediately yells at him for being late. Howie's trying to explain the accident, but Damien doesn't care. Yells at him for being late, driving a messed up car, and rushes him into work. Where he starts, he works in an office, so he's just mainly, you know, doing paperwork and stuff. And so after a long day, you know, the bags of his eyes are deep, completely filled with paperwork.
Yeah.
All tired and stuff.
We can have a scene.
He gets called
where he's
into the
just working.
office. And he's laid off.
Oh no! After the worst, you get laid off after you've done a whole day's work.
Yep. And so
we are really
apparently
down.
they've got a
Howie's
new
sounding
product.
downtrodden. I love it.
I know. They've got a new product, and they're going to be shutting down the small arms division, which is what he works in. He gets a memorial pistol. And he's sent home.
And one bullet. He gets a memorial pistol and one bullet, basically just being like, "Yeah, you should kill yourself, Howie. Do it."
Well, I assume it was loaded. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? It was
so
the 50s.
He's going home. He goes to the bar first. And he's sitting at the bar having a drink before he goes home.
Having a Shirley Temple.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably just like the most basic beer that there is what he gets.
Yeah, the cheapest beer. And then we can show that behind the bar, they're just, you know how when you have tap beer, they have a little, like, trough underneath the tap beer container to catch.
Oh, they're scooping it out of the trough.
Yeah, they're just, like, pouring him the trough beer and giving it to him. And
no,
he's just
well, the
drinking
bartender
it.
likes him.
Oh,
Her
okay,
name's
good.
Robin. She's very nice to him. And so he's confiding in her, and across from them, a table of scientists are talking about their research progress. But him and Robin are talking. He's telling her about how his work sucks and all that stuff. And Robin's kind of flirting with him.
Oh.
But he cuts it off, and he's like, "Well, I'm married." I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he, puts his ring finger in front. He makes sure that she can see his wedding ring.
Oh, yeah, maybe he doesn't even say anything. Like, she starts to flirt, and that's when he, like, showcases the ring on the, like, when he grabs the bug. She sees it. So he comes back home a little early because he did get laid off, so he didn't finish the whole day, but it was almost the whole day. And so that's why he went to the bar, so he could drink a little bit. Then he came home, but he still ends up home a little early. He goes into the garage, he parks, flips on the lights, they work, he smiles, but then he listens.
And Chip is
and Chip is in bed with his wife Millicent.
He's doing a body pillow situation.
So he's like
He
listening to the
pillow.
sound, unsure of what it is, like at first, like in denial of what it is, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And he like opens the bedroom door, sees them, and then shuts the door.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see him. He gets back in his car, he drives to a cliff overlooking town, and he blows his brains out.
Oh, so sad.
Blaring alarm. 6:30, October 17th, 1955. He gets up from breakfast.
Oh my god. Wait,
Says
what?
hi to Chip. Car accident. Gets yelled at by the boss.
Wait,
Everything
what?
basically that happens.
Yeah, and
So
he's like, maybe he's got like a bit of a look
So
of
he's at work.
recognition.
Nope, no recognition.
No
All just runs
recognition.
through exactly the same.
Okay.
But, we do it faster this time, so I don't want to make the audience sit through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So montage, we'd see, like, coffee pouring, door shutting. Hi, Chip. Can you fix the light in the garage? Oh, yeah, no problem. It'll be my pleasure.
Mm-hmm. And then we see Chip, he looks up at
Car
the
accident.
window.
Yelled at. Pays the man. Yelled at by the boss. He's at work. And while he's working at his office desk, he looks up from the cubicle. Just, in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees this scientist, this strange man walking through with, like, these dark circle-rimmed glasses, or circle glasses.
Yeah, Harry Potter style glasses.
I was thinking, but except they're tinted, like John Lennon's.
Oh,
like, you
yeah.
can't see his eyes.
Okay, cool. That's how you make Harry Potter glasses cool, as you tint them.
Yeah. Because they're not cool now. They're lame.
Yeah, they are. Harry Potter's glasses are lame. Tinted circular sunglasses are cool as shit.
Anyway, he sees the strange man in the lab coat watching the workers.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks his coworker who that is, and he says it's someone from the new research division. And the day's going as normals. He's fired. He goes to the bar. This time at the bar, he pays a little bit more attention to the scientists that are across from him.
Yeah.
He notes that they're from Clockwork Industries. That's what their best say and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's listening to them talk about, like...
Is the sunglasses guy there, too?
No.
Okay.
He's listening to them talk about, like, their new project and how good it's going and how revolutionary it is and how they don't need, like, any other like, little workers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to make so much money. And it's clear he is upset at this because he can see that his company's about to make a ton of money and they got rid of him.
They just fired him.
Maybe we can make in some note that he has, like, stock options that he's about to be able to get, so it would really benefit him. He'd probably make some money. So, goes on, he goes home where his wife's cheating on him, and he, has the same reaction, drives up to the cliff. He's got the gun in his hand, he's sitting there, looking over the city, and he spots the scientist.
The circular
with the dark
glasses.
rimmed sunglasses.
Yeah, okay.
Just like sitting on a car with binoculars looking over the city.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he puts the gun away and, like, turns on his car and he follows the scientist.
Yeah.
Follows him all the way to Clockwork Industries. He's very quiet, trying to keep the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want him to know that he's being followed. Parks gets out of the car, follows him inside into the research division where they've got all this mysterious equipment, and a gaggle of scientists is preparing a test.
Ooh, and they've all got...
And just as the clock strokes midnight, and as these scientists fire their machine, Howie jumps into the room to confront them.
What the hell are
Blaring
you
alarm.
doing?
Howie wakes up next to his wife.
Yeah.
He's immediately startled and, like, stumbles out of bed. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? The song plays for a little longer until she turns it off this time. He wanders into the garage, immediately gets shocked by the light, and he's like, fuck. Okay, so that doesn't work, and he's like, he looks at the calendar, it's still October 17th, 1955. He runs outside, in his PJs and starts asking his neighbors what day it is. And he's like freaking out. Chip comes out and he's like, "Hey, what's wrong, buddy?" And he's like frightened by the sight of Chip because, he just slept with his wife.
Yeah. He's not happy.
And he like runs inside and he's like cowering in a corner and he's like trying to convince himself what this is. And he sort of comes to this decision that this is all a dream. Like that everything that happened was a dream. None of that happened. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. What?
Maybe he talks to his wife, who helps convince him that it was a dream.
Maybe he says, "I saw you and Chip, and it was," and she's like, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Chip, he's a harmless, he's a harmless nobody. You don't have to worry about him,
Yeah. So he gets calmed down, drives to work, gets in the accident, and the man is yelling at him, and he says he's gonna pay him, and then right before he hands him the money, he has like a change of heart because he can remember this happening before.
Yeah.
And the feeling as he laughed about like he should have just given the man his insurance, and he's like, "You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna give you my insurance." The man freaks out, pulls out a tire iron, and beats him to death.
Oh.
Blaring alarm.
Oh, that would be such a good way to like transition. You could have like of the like sound of the tire iron hitting his head and the ground, and it's like a ch, 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 and then like and on a beat it transitions into the song, and he like bolts up, sits up, in bed.
And we match cut the screams as well, because how he's screaming as he's being beat, he screams as he wakes up.
Yeah.
The alarm, 6:30, October 17th, 1955. He's shaking as he stumbles out of bed and washes his face in the sink. His wife is like, "What the hell is going on?" He's like, he can't explain it,
Mm-hmm.
He's like feeling his face in the mirror because he can like still feel like his nerves can still feel the pain and the bruises and how his face was contorted.
Yeah.
But his face is clean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Maybe he can look into the mirror and just for a second see his like bloody, messed up face, and then he like
and it can
blinks.
startle him and he'll like fall on the ground.
Yeah, he blinks and he looks back in the mirror and it's just him looking normally, but it's just like, ugh, and then he's like, and the wife comes in and maybe he can blow her off a little bit this time.
Well, she comes in, yells at him to pull it together, and he's like, frightened. He's scared. He doesn't want to drive to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets Chip to take him to work, which is a very awkward car ride.
I can imagine.
Because he knows that Chip sleeps with his wife.
Yeah.
Or he like thinks that he knows this, right? He's trying to figure out, like, is this a dream? What's real? He doesn't know what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we could have a situation where Chip, manages to avoid the car accident, but only barely. And then you can see the driver as he's driving by, the driver like flips him off or like screams, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And then like speeds away. Chip's like, "Oh, that guy's a real asshole, Heard he just got out of prison. Some sort of violent crime or something, I don't know.
Some sort of suicide squad."
Yeah, he's some sort of suicide squad. That one guy in a
great
car.
Line from a great movie.
Oscar award-winning film, Suicide Squad.
Yep.
But back to this television.
awkward car ride, he drops him off, and how he sort of proceeds is normal. He's a little weirder today.
Yeah.
But he's like, still gonna go through with his work because what else do you do, right? You know something that doesn't seem to be affecting anyone else. Like, he doesn't know really what to do, so he just goes about his day as normal.
Mm-hmm.
Until he sees the scientist watching him. This time, not watching the workers, watching him.
Yeah. Maybe he's
fearful.
Mm-hmm.
How he, like, excuses himself for, like, break, That's his excuse. And he hunkers down at the bar early. So he's, like, hanging at the bar, confiding in the bartender, who he, like, feels is the only person he can trust right now.
Yeah.
Because, his wife's cheating on him. Chip is sleeping with his wife. Everyone at work might be working with whatever's going on there. So he's like, obviously, the bartender that flirted with me the other day is my only
friend.
Confidant.
Yeah. And then maybe we can...
So he's telling the bartender vaguely what's happening, not being, precise.
Yeah.
So that she doesn't think he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Then leaves and is like scared when the scientists arrive, to hang out.
Oh, because he left work earlier than he would have when he got fired. So maybe he could see the scientists show up. They all get there. They were in a van that was like, maybe it's a Clockwork Arms like van that's being driven by one of the guards, and then they drop the scientists off, and then the van drives away. He's like,
he goes home to sort of like regroup after they arrive, but he hears his wife having sex with Chip, so he leaves.
Yeah. Maybe it's like they just started, and maybe he could hear them talking about him, because they haven't gotten fully into the sex yet.
And so like talking about how he's a loser, how he had to have Chip drive him to work, and how Chip's so manly because he drove him to work.
That sort of thing.
And so at this point, Howie's freaking out, and he decides the only option is to get as far away as possible from here. And so he's driving super fast on the highway in his car, trying to get as far away from the town as possible. And just as midnight strikes, blaring alarm, he wakes up in bed.
Maybe we can have a situation where it's like 11:58 and Ballad of the Thin Man starts playing on the radio. And
it like match cuts to this song.
Yeah, and then it match cuts to at the stroke of midnight, the song continues, the lyrics continue from wherever the song was. And we just have have him wake up and be like, well, that didn't work.
I like that. Well, he's gonna wake up not like, oh, that didn't work. He's gonna wake up and freak out. And he's gonna rush. he's like, I don't know what's happening. This is insane. He's like having a heart attack. This time he's a little quieter about it, so his wife doesn't notice, and he has this freak out in the kitchen. And he decides to go to work early, so that he can try to figure out what's going on. This time he's going early, so he does not run into the car accident.
Maybe he sees Chip getting his mail, because it's the 50s and people they'll go out in the morning in their bathrobes and whatever and get the mail, and Chip waves at him, and he just goes like, ugh. He's very dismissive, and Chip's like, huh, that was weird.
He's like, usually Howie's so nice to me.
Yeah, Howie loves me, and I love Howie's wife.
Yep. So he goes to work, uses his work pass to get into the research sector.
Maybe we could have it be like he saw them, put the passcode in one of the previous times, or the last time he was at the research center, and then he's like, maybe it'll work, and then he tries the same passcode and it works again. You can have a little bit.
You know what? Maybe we can add this in the previous day. Maybe he goes to, before he drives off, just to get away from everything, right? He goes back to the research place to see what happened again. And he sees someone type in a code and scan their ID to let them in.
Yeah.
And he goes up, types in the code, scans his ID, but it doesn't let him in because he's been fired.
Oh, yeah. So he's got to do it before he gets fired.
Yep. And so now he's doing it before he gets fired. And so he gets in. He's listening to their morning meeting. I'm imagining a big office, and in the center they have a conference room. And they're all meeting in the conference room, and around it is all the labs and stuff. And so he's going through paperwork and stuff, trying to figure out what's going on while he's listening to their meeting. And they're talking vaguely about a security breach. And Howie is going through all their planners and stuff, the calendars, to see what's on the agenda. And every single one says it's 2005.
Oh, what?
And he's confused, every single one, 2005, 2005, 2005. What the hell could this possibly mean? And he's listening to them talk, and they're like, we can't let him destroy the machine. maybe he's he think he's a Russian spy, blah blah blah, and he's like listening and he's like confused in what they're talking about, but like maybe thinks they're talking about him. And as he leaves, the scientist with the dark rimmed glasses watches him.
Yeah, he's watching. We can cut to like we watch Howie from a faraway shot. We watch Howie like sneak out of the building and then like go to his car, like get in his car and then maybe drive away, and then we can reveal that we were looking from the dark rimmed sunglasses scientist from his point of view through binoculars. He puts them down and he starts his car. And it's going to be a reverse of what Howie was doing, because he's going to follow Howie. Maybe.
Oh, that's not what I had planned.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe.
Just pitching ideas here. It's all good. What happens? I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Well, so Howie goes to the bar after this, and again confides vaguely with Robin. Who, like, he's kind of vague to her, and he's like, what would you do if every day just repeated itself and every day was hell? Like, every day you live the same day all over and over and again, but it's the worst day you've ever had. And she's like, well, I'd probably just, not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Let's just live life, however I want to.
You live,
And he, they have this moment where she, says that, and she sort of sees one thing, from this situation, is that, how he's asking about, how he should go through life, and he's seeing, I should just live every day however the hell I want to.
Because I appear to be trapped in this time.
So we have that look between them where they're exchanging these two ideas, which kind of mean the same thing, but don't really.
Yeah, and maybe she can see it as a bit of a romantic, invitation. That's how she's
exactly, because we're gonna cut from this to them sleeping together. And then, hits midnight. He wakes up in his bed with his wife, but he's changed now. He's not the same guy he was before. He's angry and he yells at his wife for cheating on him. Mm-hmm. Chip comes over to ask what's happening as he's yelling at his wife for cheating on him. And at this moment, Howie punches him out.
Oh, lays him out. I was waiting for that to happen. Just lays him out.
Which is great. We got his wife screaming at him like, how could you punch him? Blah, blah, blah. And he's smiling happy, walks out the door.
Oh, maybe we could have a situation where...
Takes a sip of his coffee, throws the leftover coffee on
Chip.
On Chip's hedges that he's so proud of. Maybe that's what he's doing every morning. He's trimming his hedges.
Yeah, or some flowers or something.
And that could be a euphemism too.
Yeah. Or we could have a situation like a Fight Club situation where, Chip comes over to see what he's up and see what's up, and Howie says "Fuck you, Chip, you stupid motherfucker!" He starts insulting him and all this shit, and then Chip punches him in the face first, and then Howie's he looks up and his nose is bleeding and his mouth is full of blood, and he smiles at him this kind of half deranged smile and just lays him out on the ground. And then,
I like that. Yeah.
Takes a sip of his coffee, tosses it on Chip's, prized award-winning dandelions, gets in his car and does not a wheelie or not a donut or anything, but drives over Chip's lawn and fucks up the grass.
Well, right before he leaves, he goes to the garage and grabs a tire iron. Mm-hmm. And his wife sees him do this and is screaming what are you doing? Are you gonna hurt? Blah blah blah. Don't hurt him anymore. Don't hurt Chip anymore. And he gets in the car. He doesn't even bother. He's this isn't for him.
Yeah.
I just had essentially. And he gets into the car. He drives up. Starts driving to work. On the highway, he gets hit again.
Maybe he can purposefully...
And as soon as the guy gets out of the car and starts yelling at him, he pulls out the tire and whacks him across the face with it.
Oh, so good, guys.
So we get some nice, satisfying moments in this life.
Some satisfying violence. I appreciate some satisfying violence. Yeah. The guy's he hits the guy inside the head with the crowbar. The guy falls, hits the car door, and then flops onto the ground. And how he gets into his car and drives away. Maybe he breaks the guy's window and then drives away just to be a dick.
I like the idea of him just getting that one hit just to settle the guy, Mm-hmm. It's him like settling the score for him beating him to death.
Yeah.
Maybe he says something. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. It'd be, I think, a funny line if he's like right above him and he's like, "That's for beating me to death." And everyone around him, like all the other cars, are like, "What the hell is he talking about?"
Yeah. And then Howie's like, "Get fucked." He yells at everyone else and gets his car and drives away.
He gets to work, quits his job, and goes to, like, you know, has that quitting job moment that he like always wanted to have, you know what I mean, where he goes up to his boss and is like, "I quit," and he leaves,
dumps a pot of hot
bar.
coffee onto the boss's desk. Maybe we can have it be like a running thing that Howie gets the boss his coffee in the morning, and that's like kind of how he starts the abuse. The daily abuse is like, "Oh, you late, you know, where's my fucking coffee?" And it's like, "Oh, it's cold. You didn't do it right. You're a fucking moron, Howie." And Howie's just like, "Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir." And then, you know, when he quits, he comes in with the pot of coffee, dumps it on the guy's desk, smashes it, and says, "I fucking quit."
Walks out, goes to the bar, and the rest of it's sort of like a romantic evening with Robin. That's how he spends his day. It's like with the one person that he feels like cares about him. And doesn't make his day shitty in this, you know, cycle.
Yeah.
And we can have, after this, sort of a montage of dates that they go on throughout all the different time loops. Where we could also show, like, clips of him, like, punching Chip and hitting the guy with the tire iron.
Maybe we do like
But mainly we're going to focus on the romantic sort of cycle.
Yeah. We could do it like a slightly different each morning. He like for the first couple of mornings he punches Chip out and like wakes and starts his day by yelling at his wife. And then, you know, by day like 6, obviously we wouldn't do them all, you know.
I'm thinking at some point in there he's just waking up and just going straight
to the bar.
Or like to Robin's and like immediately, you know, but every time he has to woo her and then they're together. Because she doesn't remember, obviously.
Yeah.
They have, like, a pre-existing relationship as friends, but that's, you know, the romantic relationship he has to establish every time.
And every morning, we could start every morning off with him, like, sliding his wedding ring off. That would be that's, like, a good image. You know, him just, like, getting in the car or, like, waking up, he slides the wedding ring off, drops it, screams at his wife, punches Chip out. Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet if we should have because I feel like if we keep seeing the Chip punch and the tire iron thing, it depreciates the value of that moment.
I think you're right. I think we should do a bit more like, maybe he doesn't even fuck with Chip every morning, but then like some mornings he'll punch him out, and then other mornings he'll like get in his car, he'll like, you know, won't wake his wife up. He'll get in his car and just like drive all over Chip's lawn and like fuck it all up, and then he leaves.
Well, I'm thinking that like what the idea is that we start with things like that, right, in the montage, with where he's like, you know, still screwing over those other people and then spending time with Robin. But I think over time it should just be him spending time with Robin, because it shows that he's sort of over those things. He doesn't really care about them anymore. Yeah. And to him, it's all about spending time with the, you know, people that love him and that he loves.
And maybe we could see the black glasses scientist in the background of some of these shots. You know, like we don't bring attention to it, but he's just like standing in the background, or maybe like in a
getting to that
ridge.
The montage is going to end with Robin and Howie on a merry-go-round. And as the merry-go-round circles every time, the audience, we can see the scientists with the black round circles. Yeah. Like vaguely in the background. It's something that, you know, you got to pay attention to notice, I think. Yeah. It's not going to be super obvious. We might make it obvious right at the end. But the shot is going to end with, you know, them talking on the merry-go-round as it spins around, having fun. And as midnight strikes, they kiss.
Oh, and we could have a nice match shot between the analog clock striking midnight and the Ferris wheel going to the top, and them kissing. Like that. That would be a nice match shot. Yeah, it's good.
And then boom, hits. Wakes up with Millicent, and he's like horrified, and he's going through this moment like, what's the point of any of it? if he has to wake up with her, and he's telling her this.
Yeah. Oh, good.
He's like, he wakes up and he screams. She's like, "What's wrong? What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "What's the point of any of this if I have to wake up with you every time?"
Every morning I have to wake up.
She's sort of seeing this as like him talking about divorce, not that he's living this life over and over again.
Not trapped in a time loop.
Mm-hmm. And he's like talking. He's like, I'm stuck on this merry-go-round. It just keeps spinning and I can't get off. I've got to figure out a way to get off. I've got to destroy that machine. He's saying to himself. Mm-hmm. And as he opens the door to leave, he opens it to men in lab coats. And the scientist comes in with this dark rimmed sunglasses, mm-hmm. and the other two scientists have guns.
Oh, that's good. And then his wife comes down the table. It's like, Howie, what's going on? And the scientist.
Yeah, she's freaking out, and she's like, everyone's yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm.
The scientist with the dark rimmed sunglasses. He's like, we can't allow you to live. You're a security risk. We're gonna reset you at the lab and stuff. Like, he's being vague. It's like, we can't let you continue like you are. You're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And as everyone's there's yells and stuff, the wife is freaking out and screaming. Because, there's men in her house with guns. And her husband also was just about to, divorce her a few seconds ago. So she's having a time right now.
Yeah, she's not having a good time.
And when she's, her screams bring Chip over, who comes in and immediately attacks them when he sees them sort of roughly handling Millicent.
Yeah.
This gives time for Howie to flee to the garage. They probably shoot it as he leaps over to the garage door.
Mm-hmm. Does that cool thing
Gunshots
where he slides
over
the hood of the car?
Yeah, you can slide over the hood of the car, but it's dark in the garage, and he didn't hit the garage door, so he's hiding behind the car. As the pursuer comes in, the pursuer first hits the garage door, because it's the garage door is on a light switch too, and he's like, "Oh, what the hell is this?" Mm-hmm. And he hits the next light switch, and it shocks him. It electrocutes him.
Yeah.
And immediately Howie jumps in the car and drives off. Driving to the...
he does that cool thing where he, reverses. He reverses really, really fast and then, switches to drive and, flips the car around. He does a sweet drift.
Yeah.
Turns the car around and he drives. And I'm assuming he goes to the bar or he goes to Clockwork
No,
Orange.
he's going to the office.
Yeah.
He's gonna shut this thing down once and for all. He might have told him that maybe while they had the guns to him. He's like, "I'm gonna do it. I can't live this life anymore. You don't understand." And he gets in the car. He's driving off. They're pursuing him. He leads them onto to the road rager, who rams into them. He's trying, because the road rager's crazy, and he knows exactly where the road rager's gonna crash into his car.
Yeah.
And so he speeds up at the last second, so the road rager hits them instead.
Mm-hmm.
And how he's driving off as the road rager's screaming at these guards with the guns.
The guards just gun him down. How he can see it in the rear view.
I don't know if they're gonna gun him down or if they're gonna get their asses beat in by this dude with his tire iron.
Yeah, well, they could try. They managed to handle Chip.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the road rager's this tubby dude who's losing hair and he's got a kind of a mustache situation and a 70s thick collar. I don't know why that's how I imagined him, but it is.
He's a big guy, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Definitely 6'4", drives a pickup truck. Weighs a bit, He's not in good shape.
Yeah. Bit of a beer gut. Maybe we can show in one of the loops that he's got a bunch of light beer cans just crumpled at the bottom of the passenger side seat,
Yeah, they come out every time he gets out of the car.
Yeah, that would be good because we can have the clink.
Good shot.
Clink as a match shot between them. Between each loop we have a shot of the underside of the car as his feet touch the ground, and then the bottles follow, or the cans follow.
So Howie gets to work. He goes to his boss's office, and he grabs the revolver, the pistol that he's given for this, his day work.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going through the office. He gets to the machine. It's mostly quiet because it's very early in the morning.
Yeah.
No one else is really in the office building. and Howie's holding the gun to the machine as the scientist walks in, also holding a gun.
Mm-hmm.
The scientist is like, no, you can't do this, and he sort of explains what the time loop is. He explains that it allows them to research far ahead of their time and get ahead of the Russians, and how that was the original plan, and how the United States was like, we're gonna get way ahead of the Russians, we're gonna have a time loop so that we can get way ahead, technological wise, so that we'll have, like, you know, supremacy and we'll win the Cold War and stuff. But over time, these scientists that are stuck in this loop, they don't have any oversight.
Yeah.
So they live in eternity. They don't age. And he's like talking about how they're like gods, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They know everything about everywhere in the world. They can do anything they want. And sure, they do some research, but mainly they just, you know, they go out and they do whatever the hell they want. They get drunk at the bars. They go sightseeing on the cliffs. They have, you know, an exciting life.
Yeah.
And they get to test whatever things they want on whatever people. They could use human subjects or whatever, because it doesn't matter, because they'll be reset tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. But somehow.
And this scientist, you know, after Howie says it a couple of times about how he, like, can't live his life's hell, and he wants to be with Robin, or like he hates his wife. Maybe the scientist says something really mean, like, oh, you know, in one of these loops, I slept with that bartender or something, just to like piss off Howie even more.
Yeah. She'll give it up for anybody. You know, he says something real gross. That guys would say.
Oh, maybe he's like, all you have to do is, just be nice to her for a certain amount of time, and she'll.
Yeah, he's seeing.
I don't know if we'll have that or not, because I feel like that might depreciate the value of.
Well, I would just assume
Robin's character and also her relationship with Howie.
I would just assume the scientist is lying. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe, because then we can sort of. I don't know how to make it clear that he's lying, though. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
A little bit of suspense, a little bit of questions. Never hurt nobody.
Yeah. But I feel like it's important because he's trying to, like, that's kind of one of the big reasons that Howie wants to destroy the machine, is that he can live this life with this other person.
Mm-hmm.
That he can't right now because she doesn't remember everything the next day, and he wakes up every day with his wife, who is cheating on him and hates him.
Yeah.
And so the scientist is trying to, like, destroy that little bit of hope for the future, hope for the days that as they move on, and wants him to think, like, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I should just, give it up and let these scientists have their paradise.
Mm-hmm.
And the scientist, he's offering him, like, you could be gods with us.
We'll let you in.
We won't reset you. You can live your life however you want. You can do whatever the hell you want for the rest of your days.
Yeah.
You could be one of us. And Howie, I haven't written the dialogue for it, but it'd be very definitive.
Mm-hmm.
Howie say, like, I don't want to live, my days like this.
I'd rather
What is life? What is life when it's like this?
I'd rather live one day as a man than an eternity as a god. And then he pulls the trigger.
Yeah, something cool like that.
Yeah, and he blows up the machine or something.
Well, not yet. Very soon.
Yeah.
Then the scientist is like, oh, no, please don't. We don't know what's going to happen if you shoot it. We may all wake up in 2005, super old and stuff. We may all
wake up in 1955. We may not wake up at all.
Yeah. And Howie's like, I'll, take my chances with that. Shoots the machine. Cut to black. Roll credits. Ballad of a Thin Man plays over it.
Great. Great.
Now, the idea of Ballad of a Thin Man playing over it is supposed to kind of tell the audience that the next day started.
Yeah, that is good. I like that. But it could also be like it could be a definitive ending to the story, but it could also
it could be either one. It could be it's over, the thing's over, or, it could leave that hint that maybe the day started, it's 1955.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of vague, but, like, not vague enough that people will feel like it's a satisfying ending. I like.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm gonna Google when the Ballad of the Thin Man came out.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because I was like,
definitely came out in the 65 or something.
Yeah, I think it came out in the 60s.
So maybe this is 65.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's actually 2005. You know, because maybe the scientists, they've trapped this town in this sort of time loop. And so everyone outside of the town has, you know, the time has just...
I was thinking it's the whole world. So the song comes out in 1965. So let's say that it's 1965.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not 1955. That adds to it, too, because it's like, it's a new popular song. That's why he has it on his clock, you know.
Yeah. Oh, man, I like this a lot. And the Liberty Project, that was the title.
Or maybe it's the radio. That's what it is. He has like a radio alarm clock that starts playing the radio, and that just happens to be the song that's on the radio.
Yeah.
At that time every day.
That would be good. I like that. 6:30.
Well, that is my movie. I think I forgot to say that, but that was my movie pitch.
Well, I enjoy it.
I know we're allowed to do movie pitches, so I was like, well, I guess I'm doing a movie pitch.
Yeah, we are allowed to do movie pitches. We don't usually do them, but they are like...
We have not. This is our first movie pitch.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
happy with it.
To be the first one.
This was a pretty slick movie pitch. I enjoyed it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. And thank you, Jacob, for giving us a lovely, lovely film pitch. The Liberty Project.
Thanks for your feedback, as always.
Of course, baby. Now, if you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe. We are on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Apple Music, we're on Pinecast, we're on all sorts of different podcasting platforms. Please tell your friends, tell your family there's a fire alarm going by, or fire engine going by, but just ignore it. It's not coming from me. And tell everyone about us. And please tell us in the comments, if you were trapped in a time loop in the year 1965, what would you do with all that time looping? Would you beat up Chip, or would you try and seduce Chip? Who knows?
Damn. You could make it like a throuple.
You could make it a throuple.
I don't know how.
Or just cut out the wife in general, and just you and Chip. You go out and become, you know, you come out
Whatever.
out and proud. It's the 60s. Different times. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Have a